So let's get straight on with Domain 1, security and risk management. Now, there are not a lot of changes with Domain 1, but actually that's great because we can go through the small changes slowly, and I can introduce you to the annotation I've used to describe how things have changed, and then you'll be familiar with that for later domains as well. So we've only got a couple of slides on Domain 1 because they are minor changes. Now, all of these things were already in the official course. They were already AOC, as I put it. That's the label I will use from now on. They were already there, but they're listed now for the first time explicitly. And listed there, we have administrative, criminal, civil, regulatory, and industry standards. So investigations into those or breaches thereof. So again, it was already taught, it was already in the syllabus. Then there are some more minor changes to details within subdomain 1.10, risk management concepts. We've still got reporting, but asset valuation has been deleted for some reason. That's being de-emphasized. And then added to continuous improvement, that's not appeared in the previous version of the syllabus. And in a couple of slides, we'll look at that in a bit more detail. And then in subdomain 1.11, called threat modeling, or that's a brief summary of what it's called. So if we go to Wikipedia, and I went there because there's no mention of risk maturity modeling in the study guide or the student guide. There's also a security assessment maturity model and others. You have to look in the standard to see what they define as those things. Then level 4, we're being proactive, we're actually hunting down issues. And then finally at level 5, we are advanced and we're taking a progressive view of this subject, whatever that might be. Now, it didn't, I don't think it came up in the exam that I took. So because it didn't come up in my exam doesn't necessarily mean anything, because CISSP seems quite keen on maturity models in general. And that's an interesting point, I think, because lots of organizations have intangible assets, maybe knowledge, process, a way of doing things, a culture that is part of, the secret source of what makes that organization special and effective. And of course, if people can get an insight into that and steal it or copy it, that could be useful to your rivals or opponents. So they were in the old syllabus, but maybe not so explicitly spelt out. Then in section 2.4, we have a new section, manage the data lifecycle, but again, not always explicitly listed. We have data activities, so collect, locate, maintain, and retain. And then we have data remnants and destruction. So if I move on to our second overview slide of domain 2, we have got in section 2.5, which is about asset retention. And these terms describe, when a computer software product or service or some online service comes to the end of its life or is no longer supported. And these are genuinely new things, so maybe we can assume a greater emphasis there. But end of life is defined as referring to the date that software is no longer manufactured or supported. So end of support might come sometime before end of life, which is, it's a risk-based decision you can make. Anyway, those are the two terms. So it says a CISSP, and this is Wikipedia, as you can see. CISSP is either on-premises or cloud-based, and it's software that sits between cloud service users and those cloud applications, and it monitors all activities and enforces security policies. So a broker, as it says, it sits between the two things and moderates what goes on. And it says a CISSP can offer a variety of services, such as monitoring user activity, warning admins about hazardous actions, enforcing security policy compliance, and automatically preventing malware. And the exam nowadays is much more so than the practice questions. The practice questions can be quite mechanistic. Do you understand these terms and how to apply them and what the implications of these concepts are?